Over the years, we've investigated cases involving people from every walk of life and every belief system. But this case stood out immediately. A family had moved into a relatively new home, only 8 years old, and from the very first night, something didn't feel right. Their child spoke to someone no one could see. Visitors left convinced they weren't alone. And when we reached the top of the stairs during our investigation, even we questioned what was waiting for us upstairs. Welcome back, everyone. I'd mentioned in one of my previous videos that we've worked with clients from all different backgrounds and belief systems, from atheists to Catholics. This case involved a Hindu family. With that said, let's review some of the experiences the family shared with us during our initial phone call. The home was only 8 years old. They were the second owners and had lived there for approximately 4 years. According to them, the issues began almost immediately after moving in. The family frequently experienced disturbing dreams. One recurring dream involved a little girl with tangled hair walking across their front yard. Their son, who was 2 years old at the time, would wake in the middle of the night after having nightmares. At other times, he would laugh and interact as though he was playing with someone no one else could see. From the very beginning, they said the house never felt comfortable. There was a constant sense of unease, a scary feeling they couldn't explain. The wife felt as though something was always watching her. The father-in-law stayed in the guest room during a visit. The next morning, he simply stated, "Something is in this house." The mother-in-law also experienced troubling dreams while visiting, often involving deceased people. Their 5-year-old nephew had nightmares whenever he stayed at the house. Even after returning home, he reported dreaming that a monster was inside that house. The family had tried using sage and rock salt. The activity would seem to stop temporarily, only to return later. Let's talk about sage for a moment. In our experience, sage does not remove a spirit or entity. Many believe it helps clear negative energy from a location, which may temporarily reduce activity. However, if an actual entity is present, sage alone will not resolve the problem long term. In cases involving more oppressive or malevolent activity, sage may actually aggravate the situation rather than improve it by making the activity more active or angry. That's why understanding exactly what you're dealing with is so important before deciding how to respond. And let's see, the family had no pets. They never reported seeing dark shadow figures. They did experience unexplained odors, although they couldn't describe the specific smell. In some of our more severe cases, witnesses have reported odors resembling sulfur or decaying meat. Those are two scents we have personally encountered during other investigations. Nothing in the home was physically disturbed. There were no reports of objects moving, items disappearing, or anything of that nature. On the day of the investigation, when we arrived, the homeowner, who I'll call Bob, walked us through the house. The main level didn't feel particularly concerning. There was a slight feeling around Bob's office area, but overall it seemed relatively normal. That changed as we made our way upstairs. As we approached the second floor, we encountered what felt like a blanket of darkness. If you could physically feel the color black, that's the closest way I can describe it. The sensation was concentrated near the top of the stairs, just before reaching the landing. It felt as though something did not want us to go any further. I was the first to go up. I felt that darkness immediately. It was so dark, it was almost like walking through a black curtain. I didn't say anything, but wanted to see how my partner and Bob reacted as they were following behind. When they got to the area I had just passed, they both stopped and asked the same question. "Do you feel that?" It stopped them in their tracks, questioning what they were really getting ready to walk through. As we continued upstairs to explore the upstairs bedrooms, several rooms immediately stood out. The master bedroom, the guest room, and the room where the family had established a Hindu altar. And a spoiler alert, the room containing the altar never produced any evidence at all for us. Once we completed the walkthrough, we began setting up our equipment. One technique that has been especially helpful during our investigations is activating audio recorders, spirit boxes, and occasionally cameras before the formal investigation even begins. We'll leave them running for 20 minutes or so while we remain downstairs. Time and time again, we've discovered interesting responses captured while no one was present in the room. Names, single words, questions about who we were, and other unexplained recordings. Here are some of the clips captured during that period.
I hear you.
If you have a problem with any of the people that live here, human spirit that's in this house with all the negativity, can you bring him in here? No, why? Why can't you bring him in here? Did he leave the house?
Once our investigation was complete, we performed a cleansing of the home from top to bottom. By the end of the investigation, we had captured close to 100 potential responses. Some were remarkably clear, while others were much more difficult to interpret. What caused all of this? The truth is, we may never know. We were unable to speak with the original homeowners to determine whether they had experienced anything unusual while living there, and that leaves us with only a couple possible explanations. One is that the original homeowners intentionally or unintentionally invited something into the house. Another possibility is that the activity was connected to the land itself. In a previous video, I mentioned a particular area where we received multiple calls involving similar reports. Although we found no evidence of tragedy occurring directly on those properties, there had been skirmishes and historical conflicts in the surrounding region. However, this home was not located in that same area. It's always satisfying when you're able to determine the exact origin of a haunting. But the reality is that most of the time, you'll never know for certain. And honestly, as long as the activity stops and the family can once again live in peace, that's what matters the most. And the family did report no further activity after we left. And one final thought before I go. No matter your religion or personal belief system, we have witnessed the authority of Jesus during some of our most difficult cases. Calling on Him has brought peace and protection in situations where nothing else seemed to help. If you haven't already, be sure to watch our case entitled Jesus Marked This House, where a physical mark emerged during the cleansing of a home. It remains one of the most incredible experiences I've ever witnessed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and follow, along as we continue sharing these cases and experiences. We'll see you on the next one.